Welcome back to Far From Perfect, everyone. I am very excited today to talk with my good friend, Ashley Fillmore. Ashley is the founder of Metabolic Fix. She is a sustainable weight loss coach and a certified personal trainer. Ashley, welcome back to the show.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here and chat with you. As I was just mentioning before you hit record, we could sit here forever and just talk. So we better hit record and get going.
I know, it's so true. And it's like, this I didn't plan on talking about this, but I think that just goes to show you the importance of having either a coach in your corner or a community that can support you on whatever journey that you're on. Because, as entrepreneurs, as people who are pursuing their own physique goals, it can get lonely out there.
It really can. And I will say for me, just podcasting and even connecting with you, just chatting and seeing how many similarities we have and how many parallels with business and motherhood and life and our own journeys. It's so great to know that you're not alone. And I would say for the listeners listening in, sometimes you really do feel like you're the only one struggling, or it's your body that's not responding, or your business isn't working, or whatever it may be. So it's great to connect.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. And then that kind of gets us, we isolate more and we isolate more, and it's just no good. So always have someone in your corner. So before we dive into all of the fun stuff that I want to talk about today and the educational stuff, it's not all fun, it's also educational. Can you just tell us a little bit about your background? How did you come to create the Metabolic Fix and grow and build your company?
Yeah, so my background actually started in college. And when I was in college, I knew that I wanted to help people. At that time, I really was more exercise and just basic nutrition. That was the driving force. I
Mhm.
didn't really get into hormones and metabolism until later in my career. But at first, I just knew that I wanted to help people. I love people. I love connecting with people. I love making people feel seen. I
Mhm.
believe we all have a place and we're all special and beautiful. And I just really want to help people. And so I knew that, but I also didn't want to be on the side of medicine or treating people where, I was going to nursing school or pursuing, my medical degree. So I decided that I wanted to be more on the prevention side. And so in college, I graduated with an exercise and nutrition undergrad degree. And then my last semester of college, I actually started an internship, which became my full time real job after the internship ended, and I started working for this man. He was amazing and a huge part of my story. Actually, he had his own company. He was an entrepreneur, and he was working with people one to one, very similar to how I do in my business, and helping them with their health. But at that time, he was the only male in Virginia that we knew of that had the certifications he did that specialized in hormones and metabolism and just going deeper, because I came into this understanding exercise physiology, understanding nutrition and clean eating and all of that. But I really wasn't able to put it all together besides that base level personal training nutrition coach certification I had.
Yeah.
And so with him, I then started working. I worked there for over a decade. And then I started my own company. I got to work. I worked full time. I was the lead nutrition coach and trainer. I worked full time, more than full time, because I didn't have a family then. And I really got to build my company behind the scenes, because I started to see as I was working with him, although I have so much respect for him, there were
Mhm.
things that he was starting to do differently and things he was pulling away from and oversights with women that I
Mhm.
noticed he had. And so I said, if I want to do this differently, I'm going to have to do it on my own. And when I do this, here is what I want to do. Here is what I want to keep. Here is what I'm going to throw away. And so I eventually put in my notice, started my company, moved it online in 2019. And here we are now 6 years later. About 2 years in, I knew Metabolic Fix was my company name. It took me a long time to get here. I specialize in helping women heal their metabolism sustainably. And we also do focus in on the hormones because, as you know, Kylie, so much of the metabolism is correlated with the thyroid and the gut health and cortisol. And so you really can't go into this without understanding hormones as well. So here I am today.
Girl, you are a wealth of knowledge. Like having that background, your clients, your clients are really lucky out there
Oh, thank you.
because here's something. I mean, I have so much I could just talk to you about with that. The other day, someone asked me, I feel like the general population is very confused
Mhm.
when you and I know it's not that difficult. It's simple. It's hard to execute long term and consistently all the things that you need to do, but being healthy is really not that hard. And so someone said, "Yeah, but how do I know? How do I know who I can listen to? How do I know who's a good coach? How do I know?" And so I would ask you that question. Maybe we could talk about it together. Like, what do you think sets someone like you apart? You have this amazing background. I mean, you went to college for this. You know about the hormones, you know about the metabolism, physiology, versus, you know, whatever. You know, the other kind of coaches out
Mhm.
there. How can we decipher who to listen to?
Yeah, I think that's a really great question. I know you and I chatted about this when you came onto my show. And I honestly have this conversation with other professionals like you that
Mhm.
really do have a space and have a place here to help women in a healthy way. And they're really doing great work. But it is hard to know the difference between the two because there are a lot of people that are claiming to be experts and experienced personal trainers and hormone specialists, and they're not. And so as a consumer, I always do my homework and I tell my clients to do the same. Now, I do my homework in other categories. I know we've had this chat offline, but I've hired business coaches and have invested thousands of dollars into my business, into my company. And so one of the things I do as a consumer, and I suggest those listening in that want to work with a coach do the same, do your homework. And these days it's very sad, but you can log on to social media, either it be Instagram or TikTok right now, and you will find, I will find at least 20, 30 coaches instantly.
Yeah.
Cortisol coach, hormone coach, fat loss expert. And you just see it. Honestly, if I was a consumer, I would feel paralyzed.
Yes, me too.
Who do you go with? Another thing I want to mention is that unfortunately, certain metrics like likes and followers aren't going to really show you how knowledgeable and experienced the coach is. For myself, I have a small following, but I have a ton of education and experience and a thriving business helping women. But
Yeah.
if you look at those metrics, which we sadly do use as metrics sometimes, you would assume otherwise. And
Yeah.
so when looking for a coach, I always say, do your homework. This may mean going to their website, listening to their podcast, looking at client testimonials. You want to see who has worked with them, what their experience has been. That's going to show you a lot about that coach.
Mhm.
And also, don't be afraid to ask questions. I would love and do love when someone says, "Hey, I'm really interested in joining your program or working with you. Could you tell me a little bit more about your background and education? There's so many coaches out here. I just want to make sure I'm making the right fit." I would probably cry tears of joy and say, "Thank you so much. I would love to share my personal story with you, my education and experience, and we can determine together if I can help you." That would make my day. The only person getting offended is going to be someone that's insecure and actually doesn't have the training.
Yep. That's amazing. Thank you so much for answering that because you're right. Like, I put myself in the consumer's shoes all the time because since you and I live and breathe this, and maybe I can only speak for myself, but I forget sometimes, all the time, real people, normal people need to hear the basics. Like,
Yeah.
I get so sick of talking about where to find protein, but the fact of the matter is my neighbor Sally needs to know that information. That is not, level 202 for her. Like, that is, she's on level 1, and I have to remember that that is where people are. But yes, that's an excellent answer. Do your due diligence, do your research. Well, you
Mhm.
said something really powerful that I feel the same way about. You could have gone the nursing route, the doctoral route, and all of that. But I really feel like we are the front lines. Like,
Yeah.
prevention is the key. My whole goal is to never have to go to the doctor. Yes, for certain things like wellness checks, for sure. I never want to have to go. And treating your body well is an excellent way to avoid having to go to the doctor.
Exactly. And I know for you as well, Kylie, we're helping women that are in the phase of life where your health
Mm,
matters. This
mm,
is so much more than losing weight, trying to get skinnier to just hit this number that you used to weigh in college. There
mhm.
is a bigger picture here. And so today, I really hope with our conversation together, we can just bring more awareness to women that your health is so important. Your scale weight is literally one puzzle piece, it's not the whole picture. And so
Wow.
we have to start looking at our health as a whole and
Mhm.
truly investing in coaching and coaches that see that and are jumping outside of this quick fix, lose weight in 4 weeks or 21 days or 6 weeks or whatever. Because the reality is that these transformations take so much longer, and there's so many components to true health and wellness. And women like us need to be leading from the front to help people see that this is preventative health. This is
Yes.
helping you stay healthy, ensuring that you have a good quality of life so you can
Mhm.
spend time with the people you love and enjoy your life.
Oh, I could not agree more. Well, you just walked me right into one of my next questions. I don't think women understand the detriment of under eating.
Yeah.
Whether they're intentionally doing it or they're really busy at work. I mean, how many times have you gotten busy during your workday and you forgot to eat lunch or you grabbed a bagel on the way to school drop off and all this? But can you talk about how that contributes to an unhealthy lifestyle? What are the drawbacks to constantly under eating?
Yeah, so this is such a great topic. So many women are making this mistake, and I get it. But the one thing I want to say is that if you are chronically under eating, let today be the day that you go fuel yourself more and you don't skip breakfast or you don't skip your lunch and just power through with coffee or an energy drink and
Mhm.
try and starve until dinner, because under eating chronically is going to do so much harm to your metabolism. That's going to decrease your BMR, or your BMR is naturally going to downregulate just from you chronically under eating. That's going to have a toll on your thyroid. And then that's going to have a toll on your overall health and energy. And that can lead to even more stress on your adrenal glands if your adrenal glands aren't already stressed out. And so what you end up with is a sluggish metabolism, inability to build muscle mass, struggling to lose any weight, low energy. You may even have irregular periods, and you just don't feel like the healthiest version of yourself. That's not how anyone wants to show up and feel.
Absolutely not. And the kicker is, like, you're barely eating any food, but you're not losing weight. And so you're like, how does it make sense? Help me understand. How can I possibly not be eating anything, but I also am gaining weight?
Right. And it's really frustrating because I've been there too. Earlier in my career, when I was first coming out of college, I know exactly how that feels when you're literally living off of 1,200 calories or less. You're training hard. You're not able to build muscle. You're working out like everyone else in the gym. And I remember just looking at other women and thinking, oh my gosh, she looks so amazing. I don't even see the results. And I'm working so hard. I'm eating so little. I'm just pushing my body so hard. It's so frustrating. And then eventually that willpower burns. And it's like you have this battery and it's just depleting and
Yep.
you're starving and you just can't keep white knuckling your way through
Mhm.
until it catches up. And so you're hangry, you're depleted, you're just not seeing progress, and it's not going to end well. But the great news is there's amazing women like us that's here to pick you up off the ground, pat you on the back and say, hey, we've been there and we can get you through this together.
Yeah, and I do want to highlight that point because this came up in a conversation with a client yesterday. She's realizing, okay, I spent years under eating and all this stuff. Am I doomed to stay here? How long will it take
Mhm.
to quote unquote fix? And we had that conversation. We're not fixing our metabolism, it's not broken.
Right.
But what's your response to that? Like, how long will it take?
Yeah, so I think that the length of time it takes to heal your metabolism is really going to vary off of where your body is, hormonally and metabolically speaking. But to just throw it out there, if you are dealing with metabolic adaptation, your metabolism is not broken. Just like it can downregulate, it can also upregulate, especially when you go about it through reverse dieting, strength training, focusing on just in general your overall lifestyle habits. But I would say, based off of my experience, give yourself 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
And guess what? I know that's probably not the answer you want to hear, but that really is the truth. It's going to take 6 to 12 months to get you in a healthy spot, because once you reverse diet, you need to be able to set in maintenance. People make the mistake, Kylie, of saying, I reverse dieted. I completed my reverse diet today. So I want to start my diet tomorrow or today, if you're going to allow that.
Yeah.
No one understands the benefit of staying in maintenance and what that does for your metabolism. The reverse diet is just one part. You have to stay in maintenance before you then proceed with your deficit to lose weight.
I mean, I honestly think it would behoove all women I mean, unless they have a significant amount of weight to lose at this point in time, to spend a year in maintenance, I would love for women to see what they could do in that year's time in terms of building muscle, energy, and then really priming themselves for that epic fat loss phase. And I'm not saying the weight's just going to fall off,
Right.
but a year living in maintenance, I think could be life changing.
It really could be. And you start to acclimate as well to eating more food and needing more fuel and feeling comfortable with eating more.
Mhm.
And when you start to get on the other side of healing, you see that you had so many disordered eating habits and thoughts with food. And, just being able to have that realization though is so rewarding. And I know for myself, even in helping my clients through this now, and maintenance is not bad. I mean, I see clients every day that will lose body fat and build more muscle and, truly just message me and say, I feel so great. My energy's great. My libido's back. My periods are regular. I'm in
Mhm.
my 40s. I thought I was doomed with perimenopause, but really I was just underfueled and not training correctly and not taking care of my body. And
Yeah.
so, I do want to say, hey, that maybe eating at maintenance and doing the reverse diet to upregulate your metabolism, because it's not broken, it's just downregulated.
Mhm.
Not only will it help heal your metabolism for that fat loss phase if you want to pursue that, but you will also probably end up surprised to see how amazing you feel and the changes that happen when you are consistently eating enough.
Absolutely. How would you handle a situation like this? Because this is one thing I hear when women are in the thick of either their reverse diet, and then when it comes up in their reverse diet, I'm like, oh, buckle up for that a maintenance period, sister. But like, I'm feeling a little uncomfortable in my skin.
Mhm.
My tummy is squishier than I want it to be, but I'm just at the very end of my reverse diet. First of all, do your clients ever say that stuff? And
Mhm.
second of all, how do you walk someone through that and make them feel okay?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I'm happy you brought that up because I do think sometimes people don't talk about that side of reverse dieting. And for women, it can come up and you're thinking, okay, I signed up to lose weight, but now you're telling me to eat more. And now I'm getting softer. And now I'm seeing the scale go up. And so I just want to stop because this isn't what I signed up for. I
And
get
I'm
it.
paying for this,
And I'm
right?
paying for this. I get it. But you need an expert coach, back
Yep.
to your question, that can lead you through and that's experienced, because they will, one, help you walk through this journey. They will explain to you that what you're going through is actually normal. And to answer your question, yes, I have some women that will gain a little bit of weight, that will get softer, that will notice that their body isn't as sculpted. Some women are coming in working out 2 times a day, very lean, but they're eating 1,000 calories a day on keto. So as soon as they start to eat more and as soon as they change their exercise, they start to soften up a bit, pick up a little bit more body fat. And I always say that this is normal. If
Yeah.
this is you, I hear you and I see you, but I think it's so important to understand, why are you doing this? This
Yeah.
is a part of the journey. For example, if you are in college right now, or think about to back, if you can, to when you were in college, you probably had a really hard course that you had to take, right? I know I did. I'm thinking back and I remember some of those courses, there's a couple of them I cried through because I
Yep.
was like, I just don't enjoy this. I'm not here for this. This is not important to me. It's just not resonating. So I had two options. I could push through it and understand that this was a part of the journey and the end destination was graduating college, or I could have given up,
Yep.
canceled the class, but then the alternate would have been not graduating. With
Yep.
your reverse diet, you have to look at the bigger picture. Why
Yes.
are you doing this? Sure, you could throw the towel in and say, you know what, Kylie, Ashley, I'm done. I don't
Yeah.
want to do this. Your program's not working, although it really is working.
Yeah.
But in my eyes, it's not working. I'm going to throw the towel in. I'm going to go sign up for that program that's promising I lose, 30 pounds off of a 5-day detox. I'm going to go for that. Truly, the consumer
Yeah.
would think
Oh, it
that.
happens. Yeah.
And guess what? That's not the solution though, because it's quitting and you're not going to get to the end destination. If anything, you're going to be right back where you were, but probably in a worse off spot.
100%. And that is like it is this is the hard part, whether it's that final push in pregnancy when you just want that baby out of you, whether you're training for a physique competition or a marathon. There are times when you're going to the gym or you're out for your run and you don't want to, you are crying. The hard course, running a business,
Mhm.
right? There are a
Exactly.
lot of times anything that you're like working towards a bigger picture, there will be struggle, but you won't get to the end unless you go through that struggle and the growth that happens in that time frame.
Yeah.
right? That is what's so remarkable. You made it through that course. Now look at you. You have your own business. You are a
Right.
successful entrepreneur, but if you would have quit, you could be working at
Exactly.
Target. Nothing wrong with working at Target, but it's not the same the like what you get out of owning your own business.
Exactly. And I know, and I think you've probably done a reverse diet yourself as well.
Oh,
I had to do a reverse diet and I gained almost 20 pounds. And
mhm.
coming from, working as a personal trainer and nutrition coach in person, seeing my clients and picking up this weight and just what were they going to think of me? And I always looked this way. And now I'm picking up weight and my clothes weren't fitting well. And I felt really uncomfortable. I mean, it was really hard.
Yeah.
But just as the example that I just gave, I had to keep my head down and say, I know why I'm doing this. Where I was at before wasn't sustainable or healthy.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
so, unfortunately, this is one of those consequences. I have to work through this to
Yes.
get to the other side. And so, through the tears, through the moments of frustration, which we all have, and
Yep.
understandably, I really had to give myself a little tough love and say, this is a part of you healing from all of the things you did to your body.
I love that you just said that. I had a similar experience. I didn't gain 20 pounds. My reverse diet was, now looking back, he also put me in a slight surplus. It
Mhm,
was 16 months long. So basically almost a year and a half.
mhm.
And I have to go back and put myself in that position. I'm so lucky. I have a recording. I was towards the end of it when I was feeling fluffy and whatever. And I was doing a Facebook Live back in the day when people did Facebook Lives. And I got emotional because of all those things, right? People are seeing you, you're feeling softer. But it was a result of that, of my consequences, of the actions I had taken for the 3 previous years, down regulating my metabolism. You and I would not look the way that we look had we not gone through that process. Can you
Exactly.
imagine if we hadn't ever done that?
I know. I wouldn't be here today.
We'd still be banging our heads up against the wall,
Oh
best case
gosh.
scenario. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have my children. They definitely wouldn't be here because my hormones weren't even there. I would not be a mom, which is just heartbreaking to think of that. I would not, I have no idea. And I look back, I don't have this massive weight loss transformation.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never lost, I mean, I gained weight with my pregnancies, but by that point, I was already living by the metabolic fix principles. So the weight came off with effort, but it came off in a reasonable, healthy way.
Yeah.
But I did a lot of yo-yoing just from the dieting, crash dieting, not dieting, the hormone issues, the adrenal fatigue. But, I will say that even though I don't have this massive weight loss journey, gaining that 20 pounds through the reverse diet felt like it to me. And it
Oh,
was
yeah.
really hard. I mean, I remember looking at my fitness pal and thinking, and I can even go back actually, which is really cool to see some of the old data I exported.
Yeah.
1,200 calories. I was working out 7 days a week, CrossFit in the morning or group fitness classes, in addition to doing a ton of stuff on my own. I mean, I was just running my body into the ground. And so it
Yeah.
was a very scary process, but I wouldn't be here today. And it's not to brag. I'm by no means, I still work very hard and I do a lot, but I'm really happy where I am. And honestly, this is what I want for other women to have too.
I could not agree with you more. And again, we would not be able to speak to this if we had not gone through that difficult part. And any woman who is on the other side of it, like, they will tell you the same thing. Yes, it was uncomfortable for that year, maybe. And if anyone's like antenna just went up, are you telling me I have to feel like this for a year? I don't know. I just want to manage expectations. Like
Right.
maybe, but it will be worth it. Because imagine getting to that point where you feel free and you don't have to do all this stuff anymore. And I don't know, there's
Yeah.
so many benefits.
And I love your response, maybe, because the sad part, Kylie, is so many people are saying things to just sell programs.
Right.
And they are saying things like, oh, yeah, you need to lose 20, 30 pounds. No problem. Like they don't know they don't know the health of your metabolism, your lifestyle, your hormones, your dieting. Oh, sure, no problem. I can do that with you. Just sign up for this program. And so, sure, when someone like us is coming in and saying, I can't tell you exactly when your metabolism is going to become really responsive and you're going to shed this extra weight or how much you're going to gain. Because that's a question I get a lot is, Ashley, how much weight am I going to pick up? How
Yeah.
much is it going to be? 5 pounds or is it going to be 10 or is it going to be more? And my response is, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. And then I'll say, look, based off of the data and all of the hundreds of women I've helped over the years, some women gain weight, but we can control that because we're monitoring how much you're gaining. So it's not like you're gaining 20 pounds in a week.
Yeah.
We can see and we can adjust a little bit if we need to. We could try to, do a deep dive on if there's things you're eating or what we can change, or you're walking. We'll look at all the components. Some people lose weight and actually end up getting leaner and
Yep.
losing body fat. And some people stay the same and they just kind of ride it out, not really losing, not really gaining, but their biofeedback improves, their energy, their sleep, their digestion, their menstrual cycles, if they are still having a cycle. They even feel better in the gym. But I can't tell you the exact timeline that it's going to take. And there's so many things that go into that answer, not even just hormones, but your compliancy. So let's chat about that. If your coach tells you that, hey, these are your macros, this is calorically where you need to be, and you're going to be eating X grams of protein, X grams of fat, X grams of carbs, but you only hit those numbers accurately twice per week,
Yeah.
then you're not going to respond the same. And you're going to be on that reverse diet longer. And it may take you longer than a year. And so compliancy is a part of this too.
Huge. Yes, ownership. Well, and that's the deal. Like, everyone is like consistent in their fat loss, maybe,
Right.
but I think consistency is even more important in your reverse diet when you're making these like small adjustments. Because if you're not increasing, or if you continue to undereat, all you're doing is delaying the ultimate goal. You're just making this process longer than it needs to be. Longer till you get to maintenance, then you put off maintenance. You're gonna, and just bite the bullet and do it.
Exactly. And do it and give it your absolute best effort and
Yeah.
hire help, because navigating this alone is so incredibly difficult. Hire help, give it your best effort, get on the other side. In the grand scheme of your life, 1 year is nothing.
A blip. Truly, because here's what will happen if you do it on your own. You will not go high enough with your calories, number one. You will stop before you need to, pretty much the same thing. And you will go into another diet phase prematurely, and you will also be unsuccessful. Then you
Exactly.
will start to slash your calories even more, and you are just in the same spot. You
Right.
never any
I
progress.
agree. And let me add one more thing to that, Kylie. One mistake I see women making is they may increase their calories, but they're not balancing them out correctly. So
Mm,
they're just adding in, oh, I need to eat 300 more calories a day. So I guess it's okay if I just go grab Wendy's or Chick-fil-A or have a glass of wine tonight, because that would
yes.
count, right, for
Yes.
calories. Or I'm just going to eat whatever I want and hope that it ends up being enough. And so I have seen that a lot too, where I've had women say, I'm just going to do this on my own. And I will say, if that is what you feel like is best for you, okay, let me give you as many tools as I can to allow for you to do this on your own. Either it be podcast episodes I have on this topic, or DIY courses, do it yourself courses, whatever it may be. But there have been times when I have women reach back out to me and say, you know what? I do not know what I'm doing. Can you please help me now? Because I am not doing this correctly. I don't know how much more protein I need to eat. I don't know how much more fat. I don't know if I'm doing right with my carbs. I'm just getting overwhelmed and frustrated. To be honest, I'm just kind of eating more in general and
Yeah.
I'm not feeling well. And on my end, it's like, well, I don't know if it's the reverse diet or the way you're reverse dieting that's causing the problem.
Yeah, the reverse diet gets a bad rap. Like, if you're talking to your girlfriends and they're like, "No, reverse dieting didn't work for me." No, that person did not execute the reverse diet in the right way. Like, I have my office White Claw here. Like,
Yeah,
just because you have 300 calories doesn't mean you can have 3 of these every single night
right,
versus 300 calories of protein and vegetables. Like, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about more of the good stuff. There's
right.
room for things like that,
Exactly.
but you got to be very mindful.
Right. And also, when your metabolism is downregulated, your body isn't going to process calories as efficiently. So, I
Yeah.
want you to keep in mind that when you get in maintenance and your metabolism is healthy, there are things that I may eat that may not be suitable for you in the phase that you're in, because your metabolism isn't able to handle those carbs efficiently. And so,
Mhm.
I just want to add that in. And if you're also in perimenopause and naturally becoming more insulin resistant, then you also have that where your body's just not able to process carbs as efficiently. Even if you're thinking back to, oh, when I was 35, I could eat these carbs and my body was fine, but now I'm 45 and I can't. So when you add all of that up, your body is going to be in a state that isn't optimal. So Also, I want to say, if you want more food freedom, getting your metabolism happy via reverse diet and strength training is really going to be the way to even have more flexibility, being able to work in an occasional cocktail or white claw or pizza or ice cream without picking up 5+ pounds from doing that.
Oh, I mean, you bring up such a great point. So, speaking of this, what are some of the best things we can do to have a healthy, happy metabolism?
Yeah. So I would say first and foremost, if you are chronically under eating, as you and I chatted on from the get go, I would say we got to get you eating more. And you're going to do this via reverse diet. And so that's how you're going to strategically, very incrementally increase your calories. But you want to do this in a way where you're balancing out your fats, proteins, and carbs for your body. So that's a key part here. You also want to make sure that that's coming first, because you can strength train all day, but if you're not eating enough and eating balanced, you're not going to see the results from that. So
Mhm.
if you're doing that already, then wonderful. The next thing is going to be strength training. And you want to make sure you are following a program where progressive overload is being applied to your workouts, but your workouts are also periodized.
Mm.
As a personal trainer with almost 20 years of experience, I'm going to say this and I mean it respectfully, but hopping onto Instagram and copying your favorite influencer's workout and saving that is not periodized strength training. Going to the gym and taking your group fitness class that's a combination of HIIT exercises and weight training is not periodized strength training. Even if those things worked for you when you were 20 or 30, it's not going to serve you anymore. So you want to make sure that you are following a program that's going to help you build muscle mass. Muscle mass is going to rev up your metabolism. There is more and more research that's also showing that your muscle mass has an impact on your longevity. So,
Mhm.
how many years you get to stay on this wonderful planet, it's going to impact your overall quality of life. And we do know through science and research that the more muscle you have on your frame, the higher your metabolic rate is going to be. So you're naturally going to burn more calories and you're going to burn those calories efficiently. So you want to make sure you're strength training, compound movements. Kylie, I see your videos and they're wonderful. You're moving big weights. I'm always so impressed with you. And honestly, I'm so happy with what you're doing because you're showing women what is possible. You're normalizing, hey, get in the gym. It's not just for 20-year-olds or college students. We have a place in here too. You can use the squat rack and the incline bench machine and
Yep.
all of the things that so many women are afraid of. So you need a program where you're moving weight and you're doing compound movements, but it needs to be structured for you. Even if you go to my page or Kylie's page, there's great things in there, but you want to make sure your program is designed in a fashion where you're going to be able to apply progressive overload to the workouts and be on a system where you're alternating between strength training phases,
Mhm.
hypertrophy phases, and even for some, working in some conditioning work if you are metabolically healthy enough to do that. If you're
Yep.
not metabolically healthy enough, you need strength training and you also need hypertrophy muscle building. Both of those types of training are going to activate your nervous system and your muscles differently, but you need both of them. And they need to be designed in a fashion where you are able to get the optimal results of getting stronger, but then also your nervous system and body needs to know how to activate and use those muscles so they will stay around and keep your metabolism higher. So those would be the key things. Eating enough and strength training are huge.
Well, so you brought up a really great point also. Well, there's a couple great points per usual. But like if you're like, whoa, I don't even know any of this stuff. Also, this is why you want to work with the coach. Like when I was on your podcast, like I don't do my own taxes. Like I don't have the capacity. I don't understand all that enough. So you don't have to have the capacity. And you also don't need to shell out thousands of dollars. Like if you're on a budget, there are actually some pretty good apps out there that do offer periodized training.
Right.
So just know that you don't have to invest $5,000 to have a personal trainer and nutrition coach. But then another follow up question, and you kind of alluded to this when we first started chatting, but I'd love for us to talk about it. How does one know if they are metabolically healthy?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, a couple of things. Number one is, can you eat at your maintenance caloric intake? And so, this is a really easy self assessment. having a metabolic evaluation done. This is something we do at Metabolic Fix before we start our women into the 3 phases of transformation. We have the repair, rebuild, and results phase. So number one, having a metabolic assessment. An easy way to do this on your own is you need to know your TDEE. Your BMR is just your basal metabolic rate. So that's how many calories you need to essentially sustain life. Your TDEE is how many calories you need to maintain your current weight. So if you can eat at your maintenance caloric intake and not gain weight and you're maintaining, that's a really great sign that your calories are efficiently utilizing the calories you're consuming. Your body's breaking down the calories you're consuming efficiently is what I meant. So that's the TDEE. And so you want to know your number. So even though, like you said, thinking about doing my own taxes, I want to curl up in a ball and cry. Like I can ask my accountant basic things. And I tell her, you only tell me what I need to know.
Right?
The rest to yourself. Like I will pay people, oh, Ashley, you need to get this. Okay, let me outsource this because I have no idea, nor do I want to understand it. It is like foreign language to me. I would
Agreed.
have to spend so much time and energy understanding this. So
Right.
for that woman trying to understand this that we're talking about with exercise, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
And so knowing your TDEE is really important. And if you can maintain your weight, if you are eating at maintenance and gaining weight, or you're thinking I'm only eating 1,200 calories a day, 1,500 calories a day, and I'm gaining weight already, and I know my TDEE is, let's say, 1,800, 2,000 calories a day, then that's a huge red flag.
Yeah.
Another red flag is take a look at your digestive health. There is a huge correlation with the health of your metabolism, your thyroid, and your overall gut health. And specifically, are you using the bathroom every day? That is a really great indication of overall how things are functioning. And you need to be using the bathroom every single day. So if you notice a sluggish metabolism and maybe you're going every 3 days or not even that, and you just aren't going well, that is really a sign that there could be something else going on. So if you pile that on with your chronically dieting, you're not using the bathroom. Another thing is you're not able to build muscle mass.
Yeah.
You are working out. You are thinking, hey, I am investing in a great workout program. Maybe they're in your community. Maybe they're doing another wonderful program that's checking all the boxes, but they're not building muscle mass or they can't sustain it. Even when they're doing things what they think to be as right, that's another sign that your metabolism isn't healthy. And so I think just those 3 things at first are really great ways for you to tune in with your body, because here's the fact. You should be able to eat at maintenance and not gain weight. You shouldn't be living in a deficit year round. You should also, when you go into a fat loss deficit, I want to add this in, you should be responding to that deficit.
Yep.
If your metabolism is healthy, you should be responding, and it shouldn't be a miserable process for you. You should be using the bathroom. I mean, sure, there's many other indications on why you could be having some GI issues, but if you wrap all of this up and you're also noticing that your metabolism just isn't really functioning well, a lot of times we'll see sluggish digestion with that too. And then if you are working out, you should be seeing the results. I want for you to see the results. I want for you to look in the mirror and say, wow, I really like the way my arms look. Or I really like the way my glutes look or my legs look. It's not for other people. This is for you. And you should be seeing those results. Just because you're 40, that doesn't mean anything. You can still build muscle. I see women building muscle into their 70s. So don't think your age is the problem. Your age is not the problem.
No. Okay, so there's 2 last questions I have to ask you because I could talk to you all day long. Number 1, okay, because if you're only eating 12 and 1,500 calories, because that's also a slippery slope because we go back to compliance, tracking accurately and all that, like it's so tricky as a nutrition coach sometimes, or even just as a regular gal. Like, am I actually only eating 1,200 calories or am I not logging everything? Am I adding more olive oil than I realize? Like, you gotta dial that stuff in too. Cause I always wonder, because how could you even possibly only be eating 1,200 calories?
Right.
It's terrible. It's, ugh.
Right.
But then the second thing, since you are like a training expert also, you're like the whole total package. You're like Beyonce, triple threat. What mistakes, I mean, you alluded to it, but what mistakes are people making, or how can women make sure they're getting the most out of their training? We've kind of touched on it, but I really want to see what mistakes are they making and how can they get the most out of their time in the gym?
Yeah. So number one, I do agree. There's a big, I guess you could say just big gap, or a lot of women will think, oh, I think I'm under eating, but then they forget to track their milk in their coffee. They forget to put the ketchup that they used with their roasted potatoes,
Oh,
or
yeah, forgot about ketchup. Mm.
yeah, I know, right? Or, they
That adds up quickly, y'all.
yeah, or the olive oil, or they scoop the peanut butter out with a normal tablespoon. It's really 2 servings. Or I actually just did a post on this about a month or two ago. There's this really lovely, it's granola. It's like Elizabeth's granola. It's
Yeah.
beautiful packaging. It looks really healthy. I think it even has some really great words on there like keto or low carb. And by the way, it's really tasty stuff.
Yep.
But a serving is so little. It's
Mhm.
actually heartbreaking if you really measure out a portion, because if you're thinking you're going to fill that bowl up to the top with some milk and some berries, and have like a really nice afternoon treat, well, let me just surprise you. And it's not a good surprise. You're going to fill that bowl up not even a quarter of an inch. And you don't even have enough granola to use the milk. So just put the milk away and do something else totally. But a lot of women are filling the bowl up because it's healthy and it's low carb and it's all these things, but they're
Mhm.
getting 6, 7, 800 calories from granola.
Yeah.
So measure everything. Be honest with yourself. There's no judgment. No judgment. I've been that girl in the peanut butter jar one too many times. I've been that girl overeating the ice cream and crying away my stresses and sadness and
Yeah.
anxiety. I
Yeah.
see you and I understand. But if you want to get better and you want to see yourself in a different spot, it starts with realizing, hey, I need to be honest with myself. So
Yeah.
everything, make a mental note when you're listening to this podcast. I need to track my condiments. I need to track milk. I need to read the nutrition labels, pull out the food scale. If you're tracking without a food scale, start over.
Yeah. Doesn't count.
Nothing counted. And I mean that with
No.
love and care and a seal and a kiss on top, but nothing counted, because that's not accurate. I mean, I'm so sorry, but that's a part of the problem. And you need people that can be honest with you in a
Yes.
loving way. And honestly, I do think, going back to your experience thing, and then I want to answer your last question, it takes a really confident, competent coach to be honest with you. So
Yeah.
many coaches will be like, oh, I just can't tell them that. Why? Tell them that. They need to understand you're here to help them. And it's not always what you want to hear, you
Yes.
know? Like, it's
Yeah.
not always what we want to hear. I wish it was. And a lot of times we get to share great news, but sometimes it's, hey, I've done my group coaching, like, hey, I don't have a food scale. I haven't had one for the first month. I'm like, oh, well, that data's not accurate. Like, you need to get a food scale ASAP. So if that's you going out to Target today, then please go.
Yeah.
So number one, tracking everything and just doing it really accurately and getting that baseline, because you may be shocked. And if so, and if you're eating more, wonderful. That's
Yeah.
great. Um, Maybe you're closer to maintenance than what we thought. So that means a
Yep.
shorter reverse diet for you. That may mean no reverse diet. So honestly, that could be a service to you. So there's that. And then when it comes to women, so after I left my corporate job, it was a boutique studio. So you could only come in by appointment. So I didn't
Mm.
get to see, I guess, what you would say the general population was at that time. But once I left, I worked with clients in a local commercial based gym. And so I was still working with my clients by appointment, because I was just utilizing this wonderful gym to meet with some of my clients there. But I really got to see more women coming into the gym. And this was really great for me back in 2017, 2018, is because I got to see more women coming in. And here are some mistakes. The women were very afraid of the weight room. And
Mm.
that's why I know on my podcast, and again today, I really want to shine the light on the work that you're doing and how you are normalizing being in the weight room,
Mm.
because that was huge. Not just once, every single day I was in there, they avoided the weight room. The
Yeah.
only people that were in the weight room, and I'm talking about the squat racks, the bench presses, the machines, the lat pull downs, and the dumbbells where the benches are set up, the areas there were guys, older
Mm.
men, teenagers or college students, and those with personal trainers.
Yeah.
I never saw women going in there and
Mm.
taking up space. So,
Mhm.
number one, take up space. Get in the gym. There's
Yeah.
many programs. I know I have an affordable membership. I think you have something similar too. There's plenty of others. If somebody else was a better fit for you, I always say find what works for you. But invest in that program. Open up your workouts, maybe through an app. We use an app, and get in the gym and take up space and don't be afraid of it, because the women avoided it. They had a women's only section, which I hope they've done away with that by now.
Almost offensive by
I
now, right?
know. And guess what that had? It had 5 pound, 10 pound, 8 pounds, a hip machine, and that's it.
Yeah.
Because God forbid we need to lift more than 10 pounds and use more than a hip adduction machine, you know?
Babies come out heavier than 10 pounds.
No. And so that on itself is contributing to the problem. So that's a big mistake, is just get in the gym, but do it smart and utilize a coach or a trainer. And this may even mean meeting with a personal trainer in person. I have nothing against that. I'm a personal trainer at heart too. Meet with one that's knowledgeable and understand. But here's the thing I'm going to do. And I'm sorry, this may really frustrate some trainers if they're listening, but hopefully if this is the trainer listening, maybe they'll be open to changing. Don't be that trainer that just makes up the workout for your client as they come in.
No.
Please
Right.
don't be that trainer. That was something that was also very shocking and disturbing to me, is I would see people come in with a personal trainer and there was never a plan. They just went to machine. I remember even asking some of the trainers, "Hey, like, do you have a plan for your?" "Oh no, I just kind of go through some machines with them." You kind of go through some machines. You would be better off taking a fitness class, probably, that has at least some structure where you're getting in, an anterior chain, like a squat, and a posterior chain, like a deadlift, some form of balance there. So please make sure you're working with a trainer that's going to put the time into creating a program with you and show you how to do the exercises correctly. There are great apps, I know, with what we do, that show demos. I always advise clients, look at the workouts before you get in the gym. Watch the demos. Going in there for your workout when you're on a 45-minute crunch or an hour crunch or less, it's not the time to be looking at the squat technique. So check it out before, the night before, when you're having coffee the morning of. Just quick little demos are great if you're not working with a trainer, but a knowledgeable trainer. And then the last thing I want to also emphasize when it comes to mistakes, and there's so many, so I really want to narrow this down, is don't be afraid to challenge yourself with the weights. Women get kind of scared when their muscles get shaky. And I've seen this with my clients from working with clients in person, or when they start to feel like, okay, like my arms are getting a little shaky. Are you sure this is okay? I would always coach them and say, yes, I'm right here. I can help you if you need help. But this is really where the magic happens. Don't stop just because you're feeling that burn. You always want to be safe. So squat inside of a squat rack. Just make sure you have safety bars up if you are moving serious weight. If you can't get the bar off the ground on the deadlift, well, that's a sign it's probably too much weight and you need to lower it. You be smart about it and work with an expert that can help you. But if you feel a little uncomfortable, that's okay. You should feel a little uncomfortable. Remember, your body wants to maintain homeostasis. And unless you're applying the stress to your body, you're not going to get stronger. And so do it in a smart way. But it's okay if you make a face or you make a sound or, you get a little sweaty. It's okay. Like, you have a space there too. If your arms get a little shaky, that's okay. And don't freak yourself out, because I've been there before as a beginner too. I'd be like, okay, I'm stopping. Like, this is done because I'm going to hurt myself. Now, don't be silly, be smart, but it's okay to push your body a little bit too.
Yeah. Well, that is another reason why when you are working with a great trainer, they help you see what your possibility, your potential actually is. They're going to be, no, you got 2 more reps on that leg press. No, you've got another squat left in you. And that's another invaluable thing. Like, we'll have clients take our program to their trainer, because again, Ashley, I don't know if Joey just got his CPT. Like, I don't know his background.
Right.
I would rather my clients go take our workouts to their trainer so they can watch, keep an eye, but we know it's good programming.
Exactly.
I don't know what the trainers are doing. I don't know.
And I have women too. I just had a recent client sign up and she's like, hey, I really like my trainer. He's awesome. And, I would be happy to show you what we're doing together. And, if you think I need to work in some of your stuff as well, maybe we could all work together. And I said, if your trainer is great and you really like working with him, then sure, we can make this work. Now, my service is to you though. So if I feel like what your trainer is giving you isn't suitable, isn't correct, I'm going to let you know. It's nothing personal towards your trainer, but my job is to help you in your journey. But I see value in that too. I mean, or I have women that do my workouts and will show it to a trainer and run through the exercises to just make sure they're doing it correctly. I mean, the biggest thing is you want to work with people that really want to help you. and
Yep.
that have your best interest in mind. And so those are the people you want to invest in. Those are the coaches you want to work with. And most of those coaches are going to do whatever. They're going to have an open mind as long
Mhm.
as it's supporting you in your journey.
Yep. Well, one of the big like themes that I didn't plan on, like when I get on a podcast with someone, I'm just like, yeah, we're gonna talk. And because we are experts in our fields, we can free flow, and that's another good sign. But it's like this is for you, like the client, right? The listener. This
Yeah.
is an investment in yourself. Like you deserve to feel strong for you. It's not for anyone else. This is for you, taking care of yourself. So thank you for bringing light to all of that today, Ashley. It's a very empowering message that you have.
Thank you very much. And, as I have, settled into almost 20 years of doing this and my business has evolved and my passions have evolved too, I just really do. I really want women to understand this is your health. This
Yeah.
is your life. Like we get one opportunity, guys, one body. Like it doesn't matter what you did wrong before today. That is okay. We all make mistakes. I'll probably make a million more. But
Yeah.
what matters is what you start doing today, not January 1st, not on your birthday, not before your anniversary trip, but today.
Yep.
And you can start slowly making choices that's going to help you feel and look your best for yourself. Because when you feel good and when you look good and you look in the mirror and you like what you see, you're going to show up so confident and happy in everything you do in your life, either it be working with other people, your family, your partner, your husband, or even yourself, which is most important. And
Mhm.
so just don't settle for saying, I'm just stuck. I'm just going to feel like this forever. This is my new norm. I'm never going to get through this. You and I have both witnessed women that have been at the very bottom, not only feel better, but get on the other side of it altogether. And it's just like a totally different person.
Oh, it is, and they honestly become coaches. Like they have a lot of my gals, they have their own career, but then they also become coaches themselves because when you go through this transformation, you don't want to keep it a secret. You
Right.
want to help as many women as possible figure it out. And I just want to highlight the fact that both Ashley and I have made every single mistake that you have ever made. I have a lot of shame. I've released the shame from all the stuff I used to do that was so messed up,
Mhm.
but I didn't know, and I was just trying to do my best, like we all are. There's nothing you could tell me that would make me bat an eye,
Right. Same
right?
here.
Yeah, we are just
And-
here to help and support, which
Right.
brings me, how can I find you? How
Yes.
can I work with you? Tell me what you all have available, including your amazing podcast.
Yes. And so I want to say one more thing. I made all of those mistakes as the expert, as the personal trainer, as the nutrition coach, as the woman getting advanced hormone and metabolic certifications. I made those mistakes. So I just want to shine that light. Like
Yeah.
you're not alone and there's never any judgment. So I'm so happy you said that. But I'm always hanging out on Instagram. You can find me there. And I have my own podcast named Cheers to Your Success. I am releasing weekly episodes. Actually, Kylie was just on. I can't wait for that episode to come out. We talk about all of these things, hormones, metabolism, just a bit of my own journey as well, if you want to get to know my story and my passion. And yeah, those are the places I'm hanging out. And I also have coaching programs and a monthly workout membership subscription. It's super affordable for that woman that just wants to get in the gym and learn how to lift weights correctly, not have to worry about what does periodizing my workouts mean, what does a progressive overload mean. We do all of the teaching, all of the heavy lifting, I like to say, and they just get to open up the app and hit start for the day, and we take care of the rest.
That's so great. Which app do you use?
We use Trainerize.
Awesome. I love that app. That's what my trainer uses also.
Yeah,
So
it's so nice. And I think there have been a few more apps come out since I invested in Trainerize. But I will say, before Trainerize, I was sending PDF workouts via email with YouTube links
yep.
for demos. And so when Trainerize came out, it was just a lifesaver because everything was there. The demos are there. It's super easy to use. It's compatible with all the phones. And so I love it. I use it myself for my own programming, and all of my programs, we get all the ladies set up in there.
I love it. Well, thanks for all the work that you're doing and lives that you are changing. Ashley, you're absolutely amazing.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on your show.
You're welcome. I can't wait to do it again because I have another follow-up question, but we're out of time. You guys, thank you so much for listening in to Far From Perfect. This is my passion project, and I love so much giving you guys free information and connecting with other thought leaders in my industry and also just related fields. Anyone that I think can offer you a new perspective, some insight, or share anything valuable with you. So, if you would like to support the podcast further, the easiest thing that you can do is just share it. Share it with your friends. Easiest thing to do, share it on your Instagram stories, text it to a friend. The next thing that you could do is rate it and review it, whether you're listening on iTunes or can you rate? I don't know if you can rate it on Spotify, but if you're listening on iTunes, give it however many stars you think it deserves. And then I also do have a few brands that I am affiliated with. I'm not going to give you all of them. I'll just give you the two that are on the top of my head right now. First one, Glow Pro Tans. It is self tanning season. I mean, it's always self tanning season, but as it is now 6 o'clock at night and it is pitch black where I live, I'm like, my tan is fading and I need to apply some self tanner. So you can use code Kylie at glowprotans.com to save 10% on your order. And then I've also Work Nutrition supplements. I will put a link to both of these things in the show notes, but I use Outwork Nutrition. I use their pre workout. I use their recovery drink, and I am experimenting with their electrolyte drink right now as well, comparing it to Element. So stay tuned for my review on that. But those are just a few ways that you could support the podcast. I support you listening, and thanks for having me in your ears. That's one way to say that. Until next time, bye bye.